Okay, so today we are going to be doing our goals update. We're going to look back at the goals that I made in the beginning of 2019, my goals for the year, and see how badly I failed. I know that I failed on quite a few because I really just didn't keep up with my goals this year. Whoops. But it should still be fun to laugh at me. And also, I have a lot of really exciting goals coming up. The next video that I post, whenever that will be. I'm really excited for my goals of 2020, so let's do this first. My first one is to read one tome a month at least. I tend to feel intimidated by really large books because I have been burned by a lot of really large books. A lot of times I feel like tomes are really unnecessarily wordy, but I have found some authors that I really trust that make very large books, and I feel like I'm never picking up huge books because I'm just afraid that they'll be boring. But the thing is, some of my favorite books of all time are tomes. So I want to commit at least one book per month to be 500 pages plus. I can read more than that, and I likely will because I'm really loving adult high fantasy right now, and they're all tomes. But there are authors like Brandon Sanderson, that's one of my favorite authors of all time, and all of his books are tomes, and I need to read more of his work. I forgot that was a goal. Well, did I do that? I would think I did that because 2019 has been a great year for fantasy for me. And dadgummit, I gotta look back and see if I did it. I'll look back and verify that I actually accomplished this, but I feel really confident a tome is 500 pages plus, if you didn't know. I feel really confident I did this because I was on a real big fantasy high all year long, so this definitely happened. Let's see how good I am at my editing game, but I'll go ahead and do a voiceover and tell you how well I did. So in January, I read Game of Thrones, Elantris, The Nightingale, and Mistborn. February was Assassin's Apprentice and The Name of the Wind. March, Vampire Academy, Book 6, Dune, Peace and Turmoil, and Well of Ascension. In April, I read A Wise Man's Fear, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, The Great Hunt, Red Seas Under Red Skies. May was Nevernight, Pet Cemetery, and Skyward. June, I read East, Black Prism, Wheel of Time 3. July was The Blinding Knife, City of Brass, and Republic of Thieves. August was The Aeronaut's Windlass and Wheel of Time Book 4. September was The Shining and Wheel of Time Book 5. October was North and South, just barely made it with that month. November is Harry Potter Book 4, The Blade Itself, Wuthering Heights, and Wheel of Time Book 6, and in December I read Pride and Prejudice, Harry Potter 5, and I'm working on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is also considered one book, so does it count? Does it not? My next reading goal is to read at least one self-published book a month. I technically did succeed in this goal. What I didn't anticipate happening in 2019 was to start narrating audiobooks. I didn't know that that was an avenue that was even slightly possible for me, and then I looked into it and it turns out it's totally possible and super accessible, so I started doing that. And I do narrate some traditionally published books with small presses, but for the most part, I narrate a lot of self-pub books, at least one a month, and unfortunately, since I started narrating, that's one thing that I really stopped focusing so much on. I've hardly read any self-pub books in the second half of the year on my own. It's just been stuff that I've narrated, which I do read the books that I narrate, obviously. So technically I succeeded, but I have restructured this goal a little bit for 2020, for my 2020 goals, to make my goal about reading more self-pub books better. I got out of this one in a loophole, and quite frankly, it barely feels like a win. Next are my TBR books. Last year, I wanted to get rid of or read all of my books that had been on my shelves for over a year. This year, I don't really want to do that because I just may not be in the mood to read a certain book, so I don't want to put that kind of restrictions on me, but I do want to make sure that my TBR shelf by the end of the year is down to 15 to 20 books on my shelves. Not even close. I'm not even gonna count them. 15 to 20. I can't believe that would be amazing. Man, that is a beautiful, beautiful number. No. I still use the library a ton. I still don't buy very many books myself at all. I still primarily ask for books for Christmas and birthday, etc. So that's usually how I get most of my books. Until quite recently, the last half of this year probably, suddenly, you guys are amazingly generous. And now I'm bringing in a lot of new books because my subscribers are sending me a ton of books. And it's amazing because most of the books that you guys are sending me are books that are already on my radar that I'm already really excited about, and now I have access to them. But there's also tons of books that you guys are sending me that I've never even heard of before, and so I get to find new hidden gems that way, and I'm so excited about that as well. But one of my goals of 2020 is to also be able to be very effective with how I'm getting through the books that are sent to me. So I'm excited about that goal as well. My last goal, and what will be the most challenging goal to accomplish, but I think that it's important for me to do, is to read more genres. So I think I already read a reasonably wide variety. I recently did a whole video where I talked about my favorite genres that I love to read. I'll link it right there. But as I was going through the books that I wanted to talk about in my least favorite and favorite books of the year, I realized that even though there are several genres that I read and I mix it up quite a bit, there's a lot of genres that I just really haven't given a fair go. There are some genres that I know that I don't like because I've tried them and I've hated them every time, and I know they're not for me. But there are other genres that I know that I just haven't given a fair chance. So I have 4 book genres that I want to give a fair chance this year, and what I'm doing is for each of these genres, I'm going to read at least 3 books in each genre to get a better idea of if it's something I want to explore more, or if it's something that I just don't really think is for me. First, I have science fiction. I've basically just written this genre off thinking I probably won't like it, but that's really not fair. Horror, another genre that I have been sure that I wouldn't like in the past, but now that I'm getting more into thrillers and I've read a couple horror novels this year, I would like to read a little bit more of it. Historical fiction, I have loved some historical fiction. I have hated other historical fiction, but it is a genre that I feel like I have the potential of really enjoying. Some books that I already plan on reading this year are The Book Thief and The Nightingale. And the last thing that I want to at least give a try is manga. I also succeeded at this. I'm almost positive. The only one that I'm not sure about is historical fiction. It's possible that I only read 2 historical fictions. I'm not 100% sure, but once again, I will lead you to another voiceover. After I've recorded this video, I will actually look into it and tell you how I've done with this goal, but I'm pretty sure I succeeded at this one. Okay, so I read 9 sci-fi novels, 8 horrors, 17 volumes of manga, and only 1 historical fiction. So I failed. Now for my channel goals, the first thing is going to be seasonal live chats. So I did a live show in September of this year. We all had a blast. I mean, I had a blast. I already do monthly live chats over on my Patreon, and so I haven't really felt a need to do live chats on this channel, but I figure we can do them seasonally here. You guys mentioned that you really enjoyed them, so I think that that would be fun to just be able to include everybody once every season. This is a goal that I failed at. So I said that I was gonna do seasonal, and I know that I missed 1 season of the 4 this year, which, you know, three isn't terrible. It's not great. I actually ended up, one reason I had a hard time fulfilling this goal this year is because, again, I started narrating audiobooks. And I found that when I have a full, 5 days a week that I'm working, I obviously can't give up my work hours to do narration. But then also Saturdays are kind of hard because my first season of narrating, I didn't do it. I had a hard time balancing my life in that first little bit of starting a new job. But I still did pretty okay, I think, and I ended up not staying with the seasonal thing, and I started just doing every 25K subscribers. So I know I did a live chat at 50,000, and I know I did a live chat at 75,000. I'm planning on doing another one if I ever hit 100,000, but I don't necessarily want to restrict it to only that because I don't know. My channel grew really fast this year. I don't know if it's going to continue to grow fast in 2020, if it's going to slow down. Either way, I know I want to continue to do regular live chats with you, however that looks, but I'm not really making a goal of it in 2020 because, well, I'll kind of explain in that video. And my last channel goal is going to be the Read-a-thon. So I started a read-a-thon last year called the Read-a-thon. It was a week of rereading some books, and the way I did it was I had 7 booktubers, 7 bookstagrammers, and 7 book bloggers, 3 hosts a day, and all 3 hosts did a giveaway every single day. So 21 giveaways in 7 days. It was a lot of work to organize, and it burnt me out for a long time. But I'm gonna try to do it again, and hopefully this time, since I'm not starting something new, hopefully it'll be fun. Okay, yeah. I did that. I did the Read-a-thon. Woo! It happened in March. It was a grand old time. It's a big event to organize because we have 21 hosts over 7 days. We do a booktuber every day, a book blogger every day, a bookstagrammer every day. And so we have 3 hosts per day, three giveaways every day. It's such a big event to organize, and it's always the most painful experience, but I'm always happy I did it on the back end. So we did it. We succeeded. So actually, I think I did a pretty good job because that was my last goal, I think. Yeah, that was my last goal. So I actually did a pretty good job. I'll put a counter right here on how I did, but I think I actually did most of them well. So yay! Anyway, there's a reflection on how I did with my goals of 2019. My next video is going to be my goals for 2020, and I am excited about those, so hang out with me for that one too. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.